Welcome back to GA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. It is the live watch along Dublin versus Kildare in the National Football League. Just a couple of minutes away now from throw-in. Bit of a delay there starting the stream, but we are good to go. We are ready to go now. And just about 3 or 4 minutes away from throw-in. Hugely excited for the start of the National Football League. And we need a couple of results coming in earlier. I've seen obviously Fermanagh beating Longford in Division 3. Last time I checked, Derry have got the victory against Limerick as well. So, look, hugely excited for the start of the National Football League. Throw a graphic on screen there. I'll try and move out of the way of it ever so slightly. But, let me know your predictions in the comments down below as we go on. Obviously, this is the live watch along where we react to the game, discuss the game live as it happens, break it down live as it happens. And here we go. Hugely exciting stuff from both a Dublin and Kildare perspective. I'll tell you what, let's get both teams up on the screen. So this is the Dublin side. So as you can see there, David O'Hanlon is the man taken between the sticks and goal. You've got a full-back line of Owen Merchant, David Byrne, and Michael Fitzsimons. The half-back line is Lee Gannon, John Small, and Cian Murphy. And in midfield, you've got Brian Fenton and Tom Lahiff. Half-forward line, Noel Scully, Lorcan O'Dell, and Sean Bugler. And a full-forward line of Cormac Costello, Kieran Kilkenny, and Con O'Callaghan. From a Kildare perspective, this is the team that they have gone with. So Mark Donlan in goal, Mick O'Grady, Shay Ryan, Ryan Houlihan as the full-back line, Darragh Malone, Derek Hoyland, and Tony Archbold making in the half-back line. Aaron Masterson and Kevin O'Callaghan make up the midfield. And you've also got Neil Flynn, Kevin Flynn, Paul Cribben, Paddy Woodgate, Derek Kirwan, Jimmy Hyland making up the full forward line there. So obviously no Daniel Flynn. He's obviously injured. No Kevin Flynn as well. No Kevin Feely. So Kildare certainly without some of their star players. And arguably you could say, I mean, looking back at the Dublin side there, big news for me there, Con O'Callaghan, who didn't play in the National Football League at all last year. And as you will very well remember, he had a lot of injury problems. The only games he played for Dublin last year were in the Leinster Senior Football Championship. He is in the side. I will try and see if there's been any late changes, but as far as I know, he is in the team there. Owen Merchant as well, who has had a couple of injury problems in the past. Great to see him starting. And look, from a Dublin perspective, that's certainly a very strong starting side indeed. Kieran Kilkenny in the team, Cormac Costello in there. You'll still have the likes of Paul Mannion to potentially come back on the side at some point. Dean Rock, I'd imagine, is probably on the bench. James McCarthy probably on the bench in some capacity as well. So, just getting ready for the action here now. The game just about getting ready to start. National anthem's going on. All the rest. For those of you who are watching, let me know your predictions live in the comments, and if you could leave a like and subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I will update the score as we go along there as well. In terms of a score prediction for myself, it's a hard one, really, isn't it? I think with it being the opening day of the league, I mean, we've seen both games earlier today were fairly low scoring. Conditions in Dublin are fairly dreadful, in all honesty. So I would expect this to be fairly low scoring. I'd say something maybe like Dublin 112, Kildare 10 points, or 113 to 10 points. I think it should be a 5 to 6 point victory, realistically speaking, from a Dublin perspective. But look, Kildare beat Dublin last year, as we very well know. They took a chunk of the dubs last year, so they'll certainly be hoping for to do something similar. Obviously, haven't beaten Dublin in Croke Park since 2000, I think it is. So it'd be quite a statement if they could go out and beat the Dubs in the opening game. But just national anthems and everything else going on now. Plenty of comments flying in there, which is great to see. Gavin says Fermanagh were maybe overlooked, perhaps by a lot of us. That was a great win for them. To be honest, it didn't surprise me too much. Like, even in the preview, like, I was I think I edged it with Longford, but you know, like playing Fermanagh in their own backyard. It wasn't in Brewster Park, obviously. It was in a Derny St. Joseph's, which probably suited them even better, to be fair. Suited Fermanagh even better. So the fact that they, you know, they got the victory in the end, fairly convincing victory in the end, it must be said. But like, as I was saying in the preview, you know, pre-season, you can't hang your hat on pre-season a lot of the time. You know, like it's when that league starts, it's when the ball is thrown in. That's really when it well and truly matters. And it's the same for Dublin and Kildare here. Like Dublin go out and lose today. You know, any good work that's been done in the build up to this will not get a mention really. Dara Stenson says, "What's your opinion on Dublin's games being in Croker?" Yeah, like I'd much rather the games to be in Parnell Park, if I'm being honest with you, especially, you know, to see the Dublin footballers in Parnell Park would be good to see. Because it's been a long time really since we've played in Parnell Park other than O'Byrne Cup games. So, and realistically, they're not going to get the attendances in Crow Park. But then again, you know, I was speaking to a Clare fan not too long ago, and he was saying he's looking forward to going to Crow Park. You know, it's a novelty for supporters and for players and everything else. So, you know, at the same time, you know, it's a great opportunity. So it's a, you know, it depends on what side you want to look at it. The ball has thrown in. Dublin with the early chance here from a free. Looks like Homer Costello standing over it. You'd fully expect him to put this one over the bar, which he does. So Dublin take the lead with the opening score of the game. Cormac Costello there getting off the mark there from a Dublin perspective. And interesting to see what happens with kickouts. Dublin pressing up quite a lot on Kildare's kickouts here. Kildare, the goalkeeping position has been a bit of a problem for them in the last couple of seasons. I mean, Aaron O'Neill was in there at times last year. They've got Mark Donnellan, who's kind of floated in between the starting 15 and also the bench as well. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, all right, what happens in terms of the Kildare goalkeeping position. But they do have possession here at the moment, just trying to slow things down as much as possible. As I update the L score there. Test case says, who is your favorite hurler? Dublin hurler. Yeah, tough one. I mean, Danny Sutcliffe would probably be my favorite Dublin hurler growing up. Just because he was there in 2013, big game player, turned up more often than not. Really like the look of Alex Considine, who's a young up and coming player. I mean, Ronan Hayes is a phenomenal hurler. At the best of times, he probably just isn't consistent enough. And then Owen O'Donnell, who doesn't live too far away from myself. I mean, he's a fantastic fullback, arguably one of the best in the country. So plenty of good Dublin hurlers. But of course, it's all about the big ball tonight, and Kildare just with a sustained period of possession here. I think about minutes gone without them giving the ball away or without them really sort of getting into Dublin's 45. So they're happy enough just to sort of retain possession. Dublin do look very well organised, which is good to see, because there were times last year, certainly in the league, where Dublin did look very out of sorts defensively. But here come Kildare now running at Dublin's back line, and they do get in behind. It looks like they've put the ball over the bar there. No, they haven't. An effort that goes wide there from one of the late Kildare changes there. Owen Merchant, I think, was the man on him there. It looked like he was turned inside and out. Goes around Lee Gannon, and then he's 1v1 with Owen Merchant, and he absolutely rinses him inside and out there. Owen Merchant maybe looking a little bit rusty, you could say there. It's a big opportunity miss. I'm not too sure if the referee's called it back for a free. I think he has. Just looking at it there, Derry beat Limerick 16 points to 4. Commanding victory there. So over the bar, Paddy Woodgate slots it over there for Kildare. 1 apiece. Big opportunity for Paddy Woodgate as well. I mean, I was impressed with him when I watched him at times last season, and you'd fully expect once Daniel Flynn is fit and available, he'll slot right back in to that full forward line, or maybe even play in the half forward line. But But yeah, lovely score there from Paddy Woodgate. I am watching this on TG Car Player, by the way, because I couldn't find the remote control for my TV, which was actually why I was delayed. So yeah, there you go. There you go. You wouldn't get that on RT or Sky Sports. So we've had to find a way to get it on TG Car with a different computer. So slightly behind the team there, and there is an opportunity here for a goal, and it's the back of the net. That's what I'm talking about. Dublin are back in the back of the net, and I knew that goal was coming because Gavin kind of spoiled it for ourselves there, but it is the back of the net. Brian Fenton, lovely finish. Happy days. Some things never change. Dublin blitzing Kildare, and I think for Kildare the big aim in this game would have been to not concede, as much goals as they conceded, obviously, last time, considering the last time they played Dublin, they obviously conceded 5 goals inside the first half. But yeah, lovely finish there from Brian Fenton. Great to see him getting on the goal sheet, and that's exactly what Dublin would have needed. And Kildare, who were, I suppose, very slow in their build-up in the last attack, obviously 3 points down now, so you would expect them to certainly move the ball a bit quicker. But obviously still a long way to go just yet. Here come Kildare, number 26. He's looking quite lively so far. And good defending there from Dublin to turn the ball over. That was an excellent bit of play there from Cian Murphy, actually, as a matter of fact. Cormac Costello doing a lot of tracking back. And here goes Kieran Kilkenny racing forward here now. Lovely bit of play. Kilkenny again. Dublin certainly look up for it. They look lively. And, you could arguably say Dublin have done more in the opening 6 minutes of this game than they did in the opening game of the National Football League last year against Armagh. Now, obviously, Armagh are a very, very good team. And if we were playing Armagh tonight, you'd know for a fact that they would be up for it. But at the same time, a positive start here from a Dublin perspective. And I mean, it is probably going as we would have expected so far because, Dublin need to be laying down a marker, beating Kildare, starting fast. Like, realistically, from a Dublin perspective, the closest challengers will be Derry, Kildare, probably Cork. So, the games you have at home against them, you have to win. And we play Kildare at home, play Cork, Cork away, Derry away, obviously. So massively important, really, that Dublin go out and get the victory. And so far, they are doing exactly that. Test case says Owen Harkin is better than Mick Fitzsimons. Rory Hayes, Clareman, who was brilliant against Wexford. Yeah, he was very, very good as well. Certainly one of the best. I mean, if you're looking at the best fullbacks in the country, you couldn't look past the likes of Hugh Lawler, who's been sensational for Kilkenny in the last 5 or 6 years. He's been absolutely brilliant. Look at someone like Sean Finn for Limerick as well, but definitely Rory Hayes, very, very good man indeed. But 1-1 to a point so far. Kildare have definitely had most of the possession. Dublin are sitting up, being very organised defensively. It definitely does look like, from the opening 10 minutes, you'd say that Dublin have done a lot of work on their defensive structure, which was expected because Dublin were very poor defensively last year. And, if we're going to win the All-Ireland, we'd need to certainly tighten up defensively. That's a fine score there from Kildare. Lovely score from Neil Flynn. Slots it over the bar, as calm as you like. Really, really good score. Was under a bit of pressure as well. And, every bit of possession is going to be vital for Kildare because, you'd imagine when Dublin come forward, they're really going to put Kildare on the back burners. And they are trying to work the ball quickly. They're trying to work the ball fast. But to be fair to Kildare, they're very, very well organised there to turn the ball over. And if they can get the next score, that will be crucial for Kildare just to bring the game back here. And that is another lovely point there from a Kildare perspective as they go move it back to a point. I think my stream might be a good bit behind here, so I think I might try fix that quickly, and then I'll be back with you. Right, I think we're a lot more up to date now. I think I was 1 or 2 minutes behind there, so we are back. Test K says, I'm from Meath. I met Jack McCaffrey in Temple Street in 2019. Yeah, he's obviously Clontarf man as well. I've met him once before in the in the Astros down in Clontarf. He was just having an L kickabout, but yeah, look, he's his work, the work he does off the pitch is phenomenal, really. So it's obviously great to see. I'm not even too sure if he's in the squad tonight. I didn't get a chance to see the substitutes bench or who's on there. I might have a look at that now, but yeah, so far anyways, 1-1 to 3 points. We will update that score for yourself now just in a short moment, but yeah, so far even. And to be fair to Kildare, they'll be happy with how they've responded to that goal from Brian Fenton, because when that goal goes in from Brian Fenton, I'm sure Kildare fans are getting flashbacks and Dublin fans are getting flashbacks to the Leinster final last year and to really how things have gone for Dublin and Kildare in Croke Park down the years. So they'll certainly be very happy to have found a response by scoring the next 2 points. But Dublin obviously still in front at the minute. And Dublin have been a little bit wasteful in the attack here. We've lost possession once or twice in the attack. It looks like almost from a Dublin perspective, we're almost trying too hard a bit here, or trying to make things happen a bit too much, trying to move the ball too quickly. And Kildare will be happy with the fact that they've been able to turn Dublin over on a couple of occasions. And here they go on the attack again with Robinson, who Jack Robinson, the late substitute. I haven't really heard of him before, but he's been very good so far for Kildare. He's been really on the ball. He's been running that Owen Merchant. He's been causing problems for the Dublin defence. And, he's obviously a late change in there for Jimmy Hyland, I'd imagine. And he's done very well so far, in fairness to the man. So Kildare have looked fairly well so far. Jack says, proven winner. It's one. Mick is proven winner. It's one hard to go better than the legend. Yeah, and in fairness, Mick Fitzsimons, I think, is what Jack is saying there. But yeah, he's he is a Dublin legend. He's been around a long, long time. A long, long time. Dublin being wasteful here, though. Like, they're just giving the ball away a little bit too easily. Does look like they've won it back. No free call from the referee. Dublin haven't scored now since the 5th minute. So about 10 minutes without a score since that goal. No points from play so far as well. Is Paul Mannion and Jack McCaffrey on the bench, is what this user says here. Just having a look there. It doesn't look like, just having a look and score BO. Obviously, Paul Mannion, you wouldn't imagine, is going to be on the bench, given the fact that Kilmacud Crokes played last weekend. Although Derry did play Conor Glass and a few of those lads right from the get-go against Limerick earlier today. But no Paul Mannion on the bench. Doesn't look like Jack McCaffrey's on the bench there as well, just from having a look. Which is disappointing. I would have expected he would have been on the bench, but I guess not. Here's a chance for Dublin and Cormac Costello. Puts it over the bar, does he? In off the post. So Dublin go 2 points ahead. Their first point, score for about 10 minutes of play. Dublin yet to score from play, and they hasn't been perfect so far. And to be fair, I didn't expect it to be perfect. It is the opening day of the league, so there is bound to be rustiness. And Dublin have probably maybe at times looked like they've been trying too hard. They've been moving the ball too quickly at times in terms of just running into challenges and losing possession. But at the same time, it is giving Kildare a lot to think about, and they are playing with quite a high intensity that you wouldn't normally see Dublin play with at the start of the league. But here they go again now with Cormac Costello. And Dublin being calm in possession. There's an effort from way out the field, well wide of the target there from one of the late substitutes there. So 2 points to the good from Dublin. I think Kildare will be... They won't be too disheartened with how this game has gone so far. I think the main thing for Kildare is just to stay in it, and then going into the final couple of minutes, if you have a chance, you have an opportunity, you might be in with a chance. Where is Seamus Brady from? Is what Test Case says here. I presume you mean Seamus Brady from the Good L Play on GA. He's a Dublin man, so shout out to us Dublin lads. But 1-2 to 3 points so far for Dublin. Moving the ball quickly here again. They're going direct, but a little bit overhit. It's a good bit of defensive work there from Ryan Houlihan, in fairness. Just looking at Dublin's changes, it does look like Conor O'Callaghan's in the side. Ross McGarry was a late change. Sean McMahon was a late change as well. McEnany was a late change. So Dublin made a few late changes there. Kildare with a few late changes of their own as well. You've got Paddy McDermott in there as well, playing at wing back. But 17 minutes in, 1-2 to Dublin, 3-4 Kildare. It is low scoring, and to be fair, you would expect it to, it doesn't surprise me the way the game has gone so far. It is interesting to see Dublin be as defensive as we have been in the opening 20 minutes. I mean, we have seen Dublin play like that under Desi, to be fair, in sort of 2020, 2021. But, considering how early it is in the league. But at the same time, it's, we're allowing Kildare to have the ball, but it is tough for them to create opportunities. It's a good ball in there into Dara Kirwan. Kildare now in possession, trying to work the opportunity, trying to work the chance. Calm in possession, all the rest. Dublin very well set up, just very, very hard to break down. Looks like there was a foul potentially off the ball. Don't know if the ref has given that to Kildare or Dublin. There is a Dublin man down. Mick Fitzsimons hits the deck. Not too sure what it's for, but yeah, 18 minutes in, not much happening really. I mean, a well-worked goal from Brian Fenton. And that really is the difference between the sides so far. 2 points in the difference. Looks like the referee's given a free to Kildare here. I'll need to see that again. But Dublin, I mean, this is a good opportunity for Kildare just to bring the score back to a point. And you'd imagine Paddy Woodgate probably the man standing over this, or maybe Dara Kirwan. Looks like Dara Kirwan. Not going to take the opportunity on, so Kildare in possession. And here goes Dara Kirwan. That's a tough angle, but that'd be a brilliant score if he nails it. And I think he might have nailed it. He did. Fantastic score there from Dara Kirwan. And that is the score of the game so far. Kildare, to be fair to them, they've had their shooting boots on. They've got a couple of good points, and that's a really good point from Dara Kirwan. Tough angle as well. Very, very tough angle. And a very good score. Dublin haven't scored a point from play so far in this game. But they're in a bit of space here. Now they have a chance to score their first point from play. It looks like they might have done, and they sure have. That's a good response there. And it was John Small making his way up the field. So just as I said, Dublin haven't scored from play. They go and score from play. So that's good to see. And a good response there from a Dublin perspective to that, what was a very, very good score there from Dara Kirwan. So 1-3 to 4 points is the score now from a Dublin perspective. And yeah, like Dublin almost playing with every man inside their own 45. Very defensive stuff from Dublin. So they've definitely been working on that element of their game. And I think a lot of people expected when Pat Gilroy was coming back into the fall from a Dublin perspective that it would be defensive structure. So interesting stuff. Adam says, "Hi mate, do you think Dublin being in Division 2 will have a negative impact against tougher opposition in the late stages of the championship?" Yeah, it could do. It definitely could do, because I mean, like, not getting those tests against Kerry or Galway, Kerry, Galway, Mayo. I mean, the good thing is Dublin do, we play Derry away from home, second last game in the league. Even away to Cork and stuff will, like, it won't be too much of a test, and even a game like this will be somewhat of a test. But here come Kildare playing a diagonal ball in, look like a foul off the ball there, but referee hasn't done that. But to answer your question, yeah, like it definitely could do. It definitely could make an impact, but it's also worked in the team's favour as well. Like Galway last year were in Division 2, carried a lot of momentum into the championship. Mayo have done it in the past. Donegal, I remember 2019 were in Division 2 and then went on to win the Ulster title. So, it does happen. It does happen where if you have a bit of momentum and you carry a bit of momentum, you can be successful going into the championship. And the fact is, group stages this year, although I'm not a huge fan of that structure, it will help Dublin, I think, because we're likely to get a bit of a test before a quarter final, depending on how it all works out. Whereas usually, Leinster wouldn't be that much of a test. Quarterfinals, small test, but not a big test really, and then you're straight into the semi-finals. But Darts says, if you could pick any senior county manager, who would it be? Yeah, like I think the best senior inter-county manager at the moment, I think, would be Rory Gallagher. I think when you look at what he's done with Derry, he takes over Derry as a Division 3 team, a side that hadn't won a Ulster Championship game in like 6 or 7 years, and then he goes and beats Tyrone, the All-Ireland champions, beats Monaghan, who might be a little bit over the hill, but still a very good side, and then goes and beats Donegal in the final as well. So, and he done well with Fermanagh as well. So I'd say in the game right now, I think he's the best inter-county football manager. His style mightn't be great, and that definitely is something that probably splits opinion. It's not the most attractive football in the world, but I would say that he, in my opinion, is the best inter-county football manager right now. I mean, you can't look past people like Jack O'Connor and even Desi Farrell as well, who've won All Irelands. But Rory Gallagher, for what he's done, considering he's very young as well, young manager, plenty of time. Dublin getting into their groove. A point from free from Cormac Costello. I was just about to say a point there for Con O'Callaghan, but his fisted hand pass goes wide of the target. So we stay at 1-4 to 4 points in favour of the Dubs. And 3-point game. Dublin very well organised, very hard for Kildare to, get into the spaces, to get, into the half spaces, not really getting too much space. And I don't think Kildare have been too bad so far. I just think Dublin have been very well set up defensively and discipline-wise as well. They've been very well organised as well, it must be said. Who scored the Dubs goal? It was Brian Fenton. Lovely finish. Will you go live for the Mayo Galway game? I won't be going live for the Mayo Galway game, unfortunately. But I will do a match reaction after the game to discuss it and break it down, everything else, give my opinions on it. I will be doing one live watch along per weekend. Here's an opportunity for Dublin. It was a long ball. It was a Hail Mary ball really into Conor O'Callaghan. He sort of just almost basketball style flicked it over Mark Donlan, and then I actually don't think he touched the ball in the end. It just sort of, and there you go. Yeah, he just bounces it over Mark Donlan. But in the end, it goes wide of the target. But yeah, one live watch along every weekend, maybe two. We might do two watch alongs. If there's big games on, everything else. I was going to go live for the Mayo Galway game originally, but just heading out later and everything else, so probably timing wise won't be able to do that. But we will do lots of watch alongs, and it won't just be for Dublin games. We will look at other games and everything else. So excited really to watch. Great to see the National Football League back and Intercounty GAA back. You just can't really beat it, really, can you? And even seeing the results of Fermanagh beating Longford and Derry beating Limerick. It's just a shame we couldn't watch those games. I would have easily watched Fermanagh Longford earlier today. I would have easily tuned into Derry Limerick, but not on TV. So what can you do? Bit of a shame, bit of a shame, but I suppose it is what it is. Fairly low scoring stuff. I mean, not the greatest game, to be honest. Probably not a lot to talk about other than that Brian Fenton goal. I think it might have been the new lad, McEnany, who set it up. It was a great bit of build-up play. Played it into Fenton inside the square. Kildare were sort of caught at no man's land, really, defensively. And Fenton just comfortably slotted it in the bottom right corner of the keeper, Mark Donlan. And it was a really, really nice goal. And a yellow card there for Greg McEnany. Young lad, obviously coming into the side. Player I wouldn't be too familiar with, to be honest with you. But he's looked fairly impressive so far. Playing in the half forward line, so good to see him in there. Just running through the score so far from a Dublin perspective: 2 points for Cormac Costello, a goal for Brian Fenton, a point for John Small as well, and for Kildare we've Jack Robinson, new lad on the side from what I've seen. I'm not overly familiar with him. I don't know if he's a young lad or he's a very good club player. I'm not entirely sure, but he's been very impressive so far. He's got on the score sheet. Derek Kirwan, Paddy Woodgate, both on the score sheet as well. Neil Flynn also on the score sheet there. So still a lot to play for. And here goes Robinson. And looked as if there was a tug back on a jersey there. So Kildare will get the opportunity here for a free. And I'm not too sure who's going to take it, but it looks like Sean McMahon is going to go into the referee's notebook. I'd imagine it's just it's a yellow card. So that's didn't look like there was a whole lot in it for a yellow card, but we'll have to see it again. Big opportunity here for Kildare. It's Derek Kirwan standing over it. Huge opportunity to put this one over and bring it back to a 2-point game. And he's put that one over. Very good score there from Derek Kirwan. That's his second point of the game. Scored an absolute peach of a first point, and right there on his left foot. Jesus. Wonderful score there from Derek Kirwan. So brings it down to a 2-point game. Dublin, though, going straight down the other end. Now in possession with Conor O'Callaghan. Playing a corner forward as opposed to full forward where he'd normally play. But here comes Dublin looking to reignite the 2-point lead. Goes wide of the field. Conor O'Callaghan, actually, who had the effort there, puts it wide of the target. That's 2 efforts from him that have gone wide. So, stays as a 2-point game. Fairly uneventful stuff really in this game so far. So I appreciate anyone who has tuned in so far to this live watch along, because there probably hasn't been a whole lot to talk about really. With about 5 minutes to go to half time. So if anyone has any questions around to keep me entertained, feel free, because there's really not a lot to talk about really in in this game so far. Very dull sort of opening National Football League game. Usually how it is, to be fair, in these sort of opening games in the National Football League. But Kildare here running at the Dublin defence. Was that a foul? Nothing there. Looked like a good challenge from one of the Dublin defenders there. And that's good defending from Dublin, who've clearly done a lot of work, to be fair, on their defence. And, if this is how we're going to play this year, if that's, the structures and that's how Dublin feel, the All-Ireland can be won this year, then so be it. You have to play that way from the get-go. But anyone who's tuning in, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you could. Be much appreciated. Plenty of we'll be doing a match reaction at full time and a match reaction after the Mayo Galway game, as well as plenty of content coming out tomorrow and everything else. Plenty of GA to discuss now over the next couple of weeks, which is absolutely brilliant to see. 1-4 to 5 points. It was an effort there from, I think, Cormac Costello, which just dropped short, caught well by Mark Donnellan. Stays at 1-4 to 5 points. Kildare now going down the other end, looking to make something happen. Malone in possession. And Kildare have definitely had the majority of the possession anyway. I'd say if we can get a possession statistic from TG Carr here, I'd say it's probably 60-40 in their favour. I mean, they've had the majority of the ball. Dublin definitely have been fairly slow, or the game has been fairly slow. Dublin very well organised defensively, and Kildare just, happy to keep possession without really doing much. We've got Noel Scully doing some tracking back defensively, which is good to see. Great to see Noel Scully back in the side as well. He was sort of in and out last year for different reasons, so good to see him back in the team. Kildare now in possession. There was a good turnover. Jack Robinson, he looks very lively, doesn't he? He looks like a very good player, and that is a very good score. And Jack Robinson, remember the name. That is a very, very good score there from him. Don't know a lot about him, but he's looked very good so far. You could arguably say the best player on the pitch so far. And Kildare bring it back to a point game. So look, this game is, it's in the melting pot. It's in the melting pot. Dublin have scored just 1 point from play so far. Their goal obviously came from play, so 1-1 from play, but it's been, hasn't been all ticking so far, so far in attack from a Dublin perspective. But here they go now, and that's just a little bit poor there from Costello. Drags it wide, a good bit wide of the target in the end. And Dublin had the opportunity to make it back to a 2-point game, but couldn't do so. But they do win the kick out. That's a great bit of play there from Tom Lahiff, I think, in midfield. Just looking at the graphic on TG Carr, Dublin with 5 wide so far, as opposed to Kildare, who've had 1. Dublin, in terms of shooting accuracy, just not quite at the races, you'd say, just yet. But I suppose it is the opening day of the National Football League, so there is going to be, rustiness and everything else. But here goes Noel Scully, and he's put it over the bar. So that's a great score there from Noel Scully. Brilliant stuff. Dublin do go 2 points clear, 1-5 to 6 points. Lovely point there from Noel Scully on his left boot. Great to see him back in the side, in off the post as well. Just Dublin's second point from play, so far from, brilliant from a Dublin perspective in terms of point scoring from play, but they do have the 2-point lead, and they've been managing that lead, you'd say, fairly well so far in this game, which is the most important thing. Kildare now going down the other end. Game has opened up a little bit maybe in the last sort of couple of minutes, a couple of scores going either way from play. It's kind of just in this area of the pitch really where Dublin are very, very defensive. I mean, they've almost got every man back inside their own 45, which, look, we've seen Dublin be defensive before against, the good teams, and we see them do it from time to time, but this is very defensive against, Kildare, who usually when we've attacked and gone at, we've kind of, beaten them quite comfortably. What do you think of the game so far? Yeah, look, it hasn't probably been the greatest game, in fairness. Do you know that way? Like 1-5 to 6 points, not hugely entertaining, just 2 points from play for Dublin. Very defensive from a Dublin perspective. Kildare, not really, they've been very calm in possession, but they probably haven't asked enough questions of the Dubs. Gavin says Lily White's hanging in there. Yeah, probably are hanging in a little bit so far, but like they've been calm in possession and they're working themselves into another scoring opportunity here. Ball dropped short. That was a big opportunity to bring it back to a game. Mikey says, what do you make of Kildare so far? Do you give them any chance of pipping the Dubs or Derry to promotion? Well, realistically, when you look at the fixtures and you look at how well Derry have started this year, they beat Limerick by 12 points today. Like, that's a big margin for an opening game of the league, and they started very, very fast, in the McKenna Cup as well. And even seeing Rory Gallagher in an interview, he was saying that he wasn't happy with Derry in the league last year. I mean, they finished with 11 points. They won 5 out of 7 games, drew 1, lost 1. So Derry are going to come really strong, and they might even win the league, to be honest with you. They might even win every game in the league. Like they're looking really, really good. So you'd expect Dublin to get promoted. But if Kildare are to give them a chance, like a win here, you turn Dublin over in their own backyard, it would be a huge, huge statement, in my opinion. But yeah, 1-5 to 6 points so far. Dartsmania says, do you know what provinces play each other in the All-Ireland semi-finals this year? It is, I believe it's Leinster against Connacht and Munster versus Ulster. We've half-time there. Half-time whistle is blown. 1-5 to 6 points to Dublin. Fairly uneventful first half, let's be honest. Not really a lot happening. A very good goal from Brian Fenton, which obviously splits the teams at the minute. Just 2 points from play for Dublin. Those points came from Paddy Small and Noel Scully. Cormac Costello with 3 points, all from place balls. It's been a fairly uneventful game, but it's the opening game of the league, and usually these are kind of how these matches go, in fairness. They can be quite low scoring, they can be quite cagey, and take a while to get going and everything else. And you'd have to say so far that it has been quite cagey. Dublin have been very, very defensive, a lot of men behind the ball. And certainly a lot more defensive than what we seen last year. I mean, last year they were quite open. They were very man-to-man at the back, whereas this year it seems to be a lot more zonal. So yeah, it's interesting. And look, they obviously brought Pat Gilroy in, who is probably to add some sort of solidity to Dublin's defence. But to be fair to Dublin under Desi, like, we were very good defensively in 2020 and 2021, 2019. So, but yeah, in fairness to Kildare, they've had some good moments as well. I think just one wide, one opportunity dropped short. I think Jack Robinson, player I'm not too familiar with from a Kildare perspective, has looked very, very good. He's caused Dublin a couple of problems, 2 points. Dara Kirwan with an absolute peach of a point at one stage, from the right-hand side of the pitch, a good bit out as well, a difficult angle. My back is a little bit sore, so I'm just trying to get comfortable there. But a lovely score there from Dara Kirwan. And Kildare have looked impressive at times, in fairness. Nirvana says Dublin and Kildare are here above the rest of Leinster. Would you agree? Yeah, Dublin are definitely, a good bit ahead of Leinster, you'd say. And then sort of Kildare number 2. But I wouldn't say the gap between Kildare and the rest of, the likes of Westmeath. I think Kildare and Westmeath are very close enough to each other, in my opinion. I think Kildare are a little bit better, a little bit more in front. I mean, they've obviously beaten Westmeath the last 2 times they've played each other, a division in front of Westmeath, and Westmeath are a Division 3 side, Tailteann Cup winners. But I suppose it would be up to Westmeath to try and make that step up now and see if realistically, are they as good as a Kildare? Probably not, but this is a big year for them to see if they can make that step up, if they can make that push up. Meath are probably not a million miles away. Offaly have a very good under 20 base. But as Nirvana says here, Kildare are improving every year. And they definitely are, and even the likes of Jack Robinson coming into the side there, just another player to kind of add into that forward line. Like Paddy Woodgate was a good addition last year. You still have Daniel Flynn to come back in. So like Kildare do have a very good side, very competitive in Division 1 last year. Definitely a lot of improvements. Rory says Dublin and Derry league final. You'd expect so. Like I think Derry have started very strong, so you'd expect them to be in there. You would look at, Dublin obviously should be up there with the talent levels that we have. I mean, we don't even have our best team out there. Like there's no McCaffrey out there, no Mannion. You'd expect them to come back in. Con O'Callaghan looks a little bit rusty. I mean, Dublin look a little bit rusty so far. And let's not forget as well that when Dublin were playing in the O'Byrne Cup, we were using a development team, development squad. So, you would expect some rustiness because a lot of these Dublin lads, haven't really played too much intercounty football, and a lot of them haven't played football of any nature all year, and not since sort of early 2022. But I'll tell you what, we'll have a look on Twitter there to see what some people are saying about this game so far. So here is hopefully you lads can see everything all there. I think what I might do is I'll get rid of this score graphic here. So we've got GA Statsman there. Shout out to him, Matthew Hurley, of course, who usually does come on the podcast. So he's got a couple of statistics for ourselves here. So as you can see there, Dublin obviously won 5 so far, 6 wides so far in the game, 6 from play. Kildare have had no wides according to himself here. I think on TG Cahard said they had a wide, but 3 opportunities dropped short, 2 opportunities dropped short from a Dublin perspective. 42% accuracy so far. So definitely Dublin, you can see there's a bit of rustiness there within Dublin's performance so far. Far from convincing so far. Cormac Costello with 3 points so far. Fenton with a goal. John Small with a point. Noel Scully with a point. Looking at it from a Kildare perspective, Jack Robinson and Derek Kirwan with 2 points. Jimmy Hoyland, who I didn't think was playing, to be honest, but maybe it was him instead of Paddy Woodgate that was playing. I was looking on the Score BO app there, so maybe it might be Jimmy Hoyland who's playing there, but he's got a score. Neil Flynn with a point as well. So some statistics so far. We'll see. Just see what the general public are saying about the Dubs so far. Really unofficial Kildare. GA says some good passages of play from Kildare, but Dublin walking through our defence for a goal was a kick in the stones. Jack Robinson showing some sparks of brilliance. Keep it going now in the second half, lads. And I'd have to agree with that as well. I think, Jack Robinson's probably been the best player in the pitch so far. He looks very, very impressive. James O'Donoghue, Dublin need a change on Robinson already. Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely rinsing Owen Merchant, wasn't he? Absolutely tearing him inside and out. Very, very good performance from him so far, it must be said. Live score Kerry says any need for the Dublin and Kildare game to be in Croke Park? Surely Parnell Park would have been more suitable, not to mind how badly the pitch needs a rest. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would agree. Like, I think it would have been nice to see Dublin in Parnell Park, especially with the fact that we're in Division 2, and obviously, even looking on screen there on TG Cahar, like Croke Park does look like it needs a bit of a rest. But like, to be fair, I don't know why the pitch is as bad as it is. I know some people were saying it needs a rest, but like, other than the club finals, like, nothing else has gone on there since, other than a few Leinster club games, nothing else has happened there since the All-Ireland final in July. So, like, why is the pitch so bad? Is the real question there. But yeah, Colin Cooper with a few predictions. He says Mayo and Galway to get in the Division 1 final. That's a brave prediction there, going against his own county. Dublin and Derry to go from Division 2, Westmeath and Down, Sligo and Laois. Interesting stuff there. Nirvana says here, I'm a Westmeath fan. Was at the Kildare Westmeath game last year. Westmeath had a bad day, only lost by 4 or 5. Very interesting year for Westmeath and Meath. Can they step up to Dublin and Kildare? Yeah, that's the big question, really. And I think for them, they should be targeting to be Kildare first, really. But as you've also said here, be interested to see if Meath improve this year. Longford to go on a Tolchin run this year, mark these words. Yeah, like I'd give Longford a fair opportunity, but beaten by Fermanagh earlier today. Apologies there. I didn't realize I was muted. Hopefully I wasn't muted for too long there. I don't really know what happened there, to be honest with you. But what I was saying is, in response to smaller fish, GA, Dublin with no plan to get the best out of Con's ball winning ability is strange. 1 Fenton long ball and a half of football. Jack Robinson, the best forward on show by far. Yeah, I mean, he has been outstanding, hasn't he? He's been very, very impressive from a Kildare perspective, which is obviously which is great to see. Great to see from a Kildare perspective. Kildare fans will be very, very happy with how they have performed so far. See what some other people are saying about Kildare at the minute. Not much. But yeah, just a couple of minutes away now from the start of the second half. Dublin leading at halftime by a scoreline of 1-5 to 6 points. Certainly been fairly uneventful, it must be said. Not a lot really going on in the first half. Fairly uneventful game. So if people are tuning in here, much appreciated if you hit the like button and subscribe. We will be going live after the game as well, after this stream, to record the match reaction. So make sure you can tune into that, because I mean, probably not a lot to talk about realistically as well, but yeah, just looking online, like, certainly a lot of Dublin fans not too happy with the first half performance. I would say, to be honest with you, like, it's the opening day of the league. A lot of these Dublin players haven't played since the All-Ireland semi-final against Kerry. Other than Dublin Club Championship and whatnot. So there's bound to be a lot of rustiness. And Kildare are a decent side. So to be honest with you, I wouldn't be too disheartened by that first half performance, to be honest. 2 points from play is a little bit worrying in the first half. And we have been, we've given the ball away quite poorly at times and been a little bit sloppy. But, just looking at it there as well, 64% possession so far for Kildare. Dublin have been very defensive so far. But yeah, Jerry Adams says, what's happening with Kilmacud Glen situation? I'm not sure, to be honest. I think Kilmacud have obviously objected the appeal, which I said on the stream the other night that I did. That I did expect I did expect that to happen. I said that on the stream the other night. So yeah, to be honest, I don't think anything's going to happen now. The GEA clearly don't want to put their own foot on it. It's a week on now since the final and nothing's happened. So unfortunately, I think nothing will happen and Kilmacud Crokes will win the All-Ireland. It will be a tainted All-Ireland. There'll be an asterisk next to it. And people, unfortunately, will only remember the All-Ireland final for the controversy. And, that will be a bit of a stain on Kilmacud Crokes' All-Ireland. But, unfortunately, that's how it is. Very uneventful Saturday, says Gavin O'Reilly, but there is Mayo Galway, so I might be speaking too soon. Yeah, kind of looking at it now, I probably should have done the stream for Mayo Galway. This has been fairly uneventful, and I kind of did expect this game to be a little bit like that, to be honest. But I think Mayo Galway could be a little bit uneventful as well. Like, especially when two teams play each other from the same province in a league. There's bound to be a bit of shadow boxing there because it's likely Dublin and Kildare will play each other again in the Leinster Championship. Could possibly play each other in the league final, although I would expect Derry to be in there. And then you're also looking at it and thinking, I would also, Mayo Galway are going to play each other probably in Connacht. So, there is a lot of caginess. So far from a Dublin perspective, or from both teams really. But yeah, man of the match so far, you'd have to say, has been Jack Robinson for Kildare. He's been fantastic. Man of the match, maybe from a Dublin perspective, it's a hard one, really. I mean, probably Brian Fenton, maybe, but there haven't really been a huge amount of standout performance. I mean, all Scully's looked all right. He scored a point. He obviously got himself, he's doing a good bit of tracking back and everything else. So Noel Scully maybe been the best performer so far from a Dublin perspective, but not overly brilliant. Just waiting for the start of the second half here. There's probably not a lot more to talk about, really. So hopefully the start of the second half can start fast, can start quickly. Buzzing for Westmeath v Cavan tomorrow, says near Van Nana. Yeah, look, it should be a. It's two Division 3 heavyweights there, in my opinion. Repeat of the Tailteann Cup final. Shame it's not on TV. Shame it's not on GA Go or of that nature, because I would have loved to tune in and watch it, but hasn't. Unfortunately, it's not on TV. I thought this would be better. Yeah, I thought it would have been as well. But look, hopefully it can open up in the second half. I think Dublin have just been very, very organised defensively, is what you'd say. And like they've allowed Kildare to have loads of the ball. But yeah, it has been very cagey. And, aside from that Brian Fenton goal, a couple of Jack Robinson points, a lovely, brilliant score by Dara Kirwan, it has been fairly uneventful, you would say, in the first half, especially from a Dublin perspective. Here we go. Anyway, both sides coming out for the start of the second half. Mad to think though, Kildare have had 64% possession in that first half. Not getting out of Division Two would not be good for Dublin. Yeah, I mean it would be, you know, it would be worrying. It would be worrying if Dublin didn't get out of Division Two. Um, but I do think they will. You know, and I think there should be a kick in the second half. Second half is up and running anyway, and Dublin straight away getting after Kildare straight away, trying to get. And good point at the start of the second half there. Conor O'Callaghan gets his first point. Dublin, who only scored 1 point from play in the first half, straight away at the start of the second half. So 1-6 to 6, 3 point advantage in favour of Dublin. Kildare now looking to get a response of their own. And Jimmy Hoyland's gone off. Paddy Woodgate now has come on. So I think I was mixing up Woodgate and Hoyland in the first half there. So apologies for that. But it is Paddy Woodgate who's on now. Interesting that Jimmy Hoyland has gone off. I wonder, is that just an injury or what's happening there? It'd be interesting to see. But Kildare in possession. I think one thing for, that Kildare management, I'm sure, will be saying to their team is, like, they've had a lot of possession in the first half. They've dominated the ball. But they haven't they're losing at the same time. So that'll be the main thing, is just creating a few more opportunities than they created. And just kind of taking a few more risks, going at Dublin a bit more. But 3-point game so far. And here goes Ryan Houlihan venturing forward. Kildare in possession. Jack Robinson again, but it looks like he overcarries. Looked like he turned one of the Dublin defenders, but he did overcarry. So Dublin now going down the other end. Fenton on the ball. Plays it in. Dublin in calm in possession. Mick Fitzsimons trying to work it through the middle. Tom Lahiff now on the ball. Dublin do have a man down at the moment. Not too sure who it is. Might be Conor O'Callaghan, but I'll need to get a second look. Might maybe be a potential injury there. But play goes on for the moment. Here's Kieran Kilkenny, who has been fairly quiet, you'd say, so far in this game. We haven't really seen too much of him. But here's a good bit of play from Dublin. That's much better from Dublin. And the effort goes wide of the target there. It was an effort that falls a good bit wide of the target from Ross McGarry. Cormac Costello down at the moment, holding his head. Could be an injury. Obviously, let's not forget Cormac Costello actually got injured in the opening day of the league last season versus Armagh. So we'll see what happens there. But he is back on his feet now. Kildare going down the other end. There might be a bit of space here to work with. Dublin now attacking. Game has opened up a little bit more. Dublin just being a little bit more aggressive at the start of the second half. And they played that direct ball into Conor O'Callaghan. He plays it back into Ross McGarry. Conor O'Callaghan again now lays it off into Kieran Kilkenny. I think that's a poor effort there. That's a very, very poor effort there from a Dublin perspective. I mean, he had so much time on the ball. Drops it short. And yeah, Dublin have just been very poor in front of goal so far in this game. Kildare now going down the other. Kildare being a bit more aggressive now. They're running at Dublin. They're not just keeping the ball for the sake of it. And to be honest with you, like, Dublin haven't been great so far in this game. So you'd have to say that there is an opportunity for for Kildare to potentially, get into this game or do something. Kildare in possession. They do lose the ball though, and it's those kind of areas of the field where they need to do a little bit better. And it's once or twice now that that Kildare have lost the ball, and Dublin just really trying to hit Kildare on the counter attack. Ball played into Con O'Callaghan. He's usually brilliant from these positions. Forces a save of Mark Donlan. Looked like there might have been a tug on the shirt. It did go over the bar in the end, so that's the second point of the game for Con O'Callaghan, who's been a lot more involved in the second half. In the first half, didn't really see too much of him, a bit of rustiness. Good save by Mark Donlan, you'd have to say there, in fairness. Good save from him. But yeah, here come Kildare now going down the other end, looking for an instant response, playing it into Jack Robinson. Is that a foul? Looks like he lost the ball. That's 3 turnovers in a row from a Dublin perspective. Kildare just walking themselves into errors now. I mean, to be fair to Kildare, they are trying to be a bit more aggressive and they're not keeping possession as much as what they were in the first half. They are being a bit more, they're trying to get in the faces of Dublin, but they're just, they're giving the ball away too easily at times, and they're allowing Dublin to get the ball back. And it is obviously a 4-point game at the minute. Dublin in possession with the opportunity to potentially grab another score. It's another poor effort there, and they just give the ball back from, not too sure who had the effort there, but it was a poor enough effort in Kildare in possession again. Derek Hirwan playing it in. Kildare's midfield in possession. Dublin well organised, and Kildare have been trying to take that defence on and trying to make things happen, but haven't really been able to do that in the second half so far. I don't even think they've scored in the second half so far. That's a great ball in. And a chance there for Kildare. Looks over the bar. Or is it wide? It is over the bar. It's a great score there from Kildare. And it's Jimmy Hyland, who I thought got substituted, but he's still on the pitch. He puts it over the bar. Lovely score from him. Maybe it might have been a blood sub, actually, was it? Or something. Why he went off. But he is on the field now. 1-7, but Dublin have gone straight down the other end with a chance. Goes for the loop. It does go over the bar. It's a good score there from Ross McGarry. Dublin, this game certainly opening up a lot more now. Definitely becoming a lot more entertaining. Dublin going at the throat of Kildare a lot more, which you'd expect them to do because that's what's worked against Kildare in the past. A great ball from Brian Fenton into Ross McGarry. He puts it over the bar. A bit of a coming together from Ryan Houlihan and Brian Fenton there. Ryan Houlihan getting the yellow card. But yeah, points galore at either end of the field. 1-8 is our score so far in this game. And there's a long ball. Dublin going direct with the long ball. Mark Donlan didn't know whether to come, and Costello, I think, was it there with the effort. He could have took the point. They decided to go for goal. It was a fairly tame effort straight into the hands of Mark Donlan. Didn't really get enough connection on it. Probably had more time. Maybe could have possibly set up Con O'Callaghan to the left of him, but good. Mark Donlan came out early, to be fair. So it looked like Costello was maybe caught between trying to loop it over him or just go for goal. And in the end, he sort of did nothing. (1-8 points so far. Kildare need to get a score. A bit of space opens up. It's a bit of a balloon shot. And it's gone way wide there from, I think, Neil Flynn. Kildare getting themselves into good positions, and I don't think they'll be too disappointed with how they've played so far. I mean, they're certainly given a game to Dublin here, which is a lot more than what they did in the Leinster Championship last year. But obviously Dublin do look quite rusty so far, and the shooting boots haven't quite been there. Again, they go for that direct ball into Con O'Callaghan, which, to be honest with you, hasn't really worked. If I'm being honest, they've really gone for that direct ball into that full forward line, into the likes of Costello and Con O'Callaghan, and so far, you'd have to say, probably no real joy with that. But here come Kildare going straight down the other end. Certainly not hogging possession as much as they did in the first half, trying to be a bit more direct themselves and take the game to Dublin. Flynn there with a pass into Jimmy Hoyland, Kildare. Need an opportunity, because I think the main thing for them is if they can keep the score down to 3, possibly even bring it back down to 2 points. It's a 1-score game then, and how many times in football have we seen late goals or late drama? We've seen it so much down the line, from time to time. Been impressed with Kildare's midfield so far. There's Jack Robinson. Has he put that one over? He's put it wide. An effort from his right boot. Been very lively so far for Kildare, but does put that effort wide. Stays at 8 to 7 points with about 24 minutes to go. Kildare making a couple of changes. Looks like there's Alex Byrne coming on. Paul Cribben going off. Maybe another change here as well. 2 changes actually for Kildare. So Kildare emptying the bench. Colin Basquel and David Byrne, the only 2 changes so far for Dublin. But there hasn't been a whole lot of changes so far up until this point. And here comes Colin Basquel coming on for Ross McGarry. Colin Basquel, very good club player with Ballyboden St. Enda's. He's done very well through the years for Ballyboden in the club championship. It's never really happened for him, though, with the Dublin footballers. He's made a couple of starts last year and hasn't really got going. It's a dangerous enough kick out there from Evan Comerford, but it does work out. Dublin do have possession. They nearly lose it. Again, they go direct, trying to move the ball quickly. Don't think there's been a mark called once in this game, which is actually quite, great to see. And here goes Kieran Kilkenny, who you'd expect to put it over from there, and he does. Good score from Dublin. They go 5 points to the lead. You'd have to say, really, that Dublin have managed the lead quite well. It hasn't been overly brilliant, and it hasn't been perfect, but they've managed the game quite well. And Kildare really have never looked like winning this game, is what I would say. Dublin have looked very in control. Kildare haven't really created much goal chances. I don't think they've created a single goal chance. I don't remember Comerford having to do that. And Kildare haven't really got inside, Dublin's full forward line or anything of that nature. They have got a bit of space here now with Jimmy Hoyland, and Dublin just look at, there is an ocean of space within that full forward position, but no one really making the run in there. Now Kildare are in possession with Derek Kirwan. Looked like he was tagged back, but the referee says it was over carrying, and that is probably the 4th or 5th turnover in the second half alone. And that is really where this game has been won or lost. But as I say that, Kildare turned the ball over from Dublin. Sloppy there from Dublin. Dublin very well organised again defensively, though. Here was there a foul there on Derek Kirwan? There wasn't. Now it's Jimmy Hoyland, but he puts the effort wide. Or he puts the effort over the bar, actually, I should say. Looked like it was wide from watching on the TV. We'll see a replay now in a minute. Derek Kirwan clearly being dragged back there. Should have been a foul. And then Jimmy Hoyland. It did go over the bar in the end, did it? It did. It did go over the bar. 1-9 to 7. 1-9 to 8, I should say, actually. But here come Kildare now, going straight away, winning the kick out. This game has opened up a lot, and it's great to see because we have a lot more to talk about. And now they're in possession, chance for a goal off the post. Dublin a little bit all over the place. And well, there was a chance there. There was an opportunity. I don't know how it happened. There was an opportunity there for Dublin and an opportunity there for Kildare, and Dublin very nearly caught napping. And that is just a reminder, really, that this game, this game is not over yet. This game is certainly not over by any stretch of the imagination. Rory says classic Dublin with a quick passing. Yeah, a lot of good interchange passing, you would say, which is good to see. But yeah, I don't really know what happened with that goal chance. I'd like to see that again. But Kildare are getting a few turnovers here, and it's definitely not over. Here's an opportunity, brilliant bit of fielding there from Anthony Masterson, I think. And Kildare go direct in to Jimmy Hyland. He plays it in to Jack Robinson. Dublin have definitely targeted him in the second half, and they've got two men on him at times. Now it's Neil Flynn. Neil Flynn just running at the heart of Dublin, but that's a poor effort, and that's been the problem with Kildare, hasn't it? And that's almost, you're almost getting flashbacks to when they played Mayo last year, where they get themselves into some brilliant positions, and you think they have an opportunity. It was a heavy hit there on John Small, I think. A heavy hit, and there might be a yellow card potentially dished out. Either yellow or black, you'd say here unless we can see the replay for Kevin O'Callaghan, and it is a yellow card. It was a heavy hit. We'd like to see that one again. John Small. Ooh, that is a heavy, heavy shoulder. You could arguably say it's a red card. It's very high. I think a yellow card probably is the fair decision in the end, but I have seen reds given for them. It's a heavy, heavy challenge on John Small. And to be fair to John Small, look, he knows how to dish them. He's probably a fan of that challenge himself, because he's a man who normally gives those challenges out. But about 17 minutes to go for people who are watching live. You could hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share it out to your friends and family. Be much appreciated. Dublin 1-9 to 8 points in front. Hasn't been, scintillating stuff from Dublin, but I think opening day of the league, bit of rustiness there. It was bound. You're bound to see that. You're bound to see a bit of rustiness, and it's bound to be vintage Dublin. But a few one or two worries, and I actually think Kildare have played all right, to be fair. They haven't done a whole lot wrong. It's just probably been, they haven't been able to get in behind Dublin's defence. And when they have gotten behind Dublin's defence, they haven't capitalised on the opportunities. They hit the post with a chance there. That was a big opportunity. Dublin running into a brick wall. Kildare are getting more turnovers here, and I think there is an opportunity here for Kildare. I think there is an opportunity here for them. Kevin Flynn plays it in. Kildare just moving the ball that bit quicker. Space is opened up here for Neil Flynn. Needs to take the point, but he doesn't. Plays it off to Robinson. Needs to put it over the bar. I think he has he? I think he has. The referee's going for the white flag, or the umpire is going for the white flag. Robinson's third point of the game, and Kildare bring this back down to a 3-point game. Still a lot of time left. Still about 15 minutes plus injury time. You'd expect there to be probably 2-3 minutes of injury time. As Greg McEnany here going off. John Small still not 100% after that challenge. That was a heavy hit as well. I mean, that would take the life out of anyone. It was a heavy, heavy hit. And you'd imagine if he's not feeling 100%, just take him off here. Because the last thing that Dublin need is any injury issues or problems going later into the championship. 1-9-9, 3 points in it. It's been a couple of minutes since Dublin scored, and Kildare have turned Dublin over. Dublin now in possession. Space opens up. Opportunity maybe here for a goal to put the game to bed. Over the bar in the end. Right decision there from Con O'Callaghan, was it? Or Cormac Costello, actually, as a matter of fact, puts it over. Dublin back into a 4-point lead. And yeah, they go 4 points to the good. $14 minutes to go, plus injury time. Here goes, is it Neil Flynn, Kevin Flynn? One of the Flynns. Kevin Flynn, I think it was. But he gives the ball away. And that's just, it's fine margins when you're playing the Dubs, isn't it? It's fine margins. And just a couple of times, Kildare's decision-making has let them down. Just a couple of times. But, all in all, if I was a Kildare supporter, I wouldn't be too disheartened with this performance. I think they've been very competitive. They've been tough to break down, a lot better defensively than the last time they played in Croke Park. And I think there's a lot of positives to take so far in this performance. It's just probably been that decision-making in the final third that's probably let them down at times, or they just haven't been able to break through Dublin's defence. Mick Fitzsimon's on the ball. Dublin's turn really now to sort of slow the game down, slow possession down, wait for the right opening. There's an effort from distance. It's dropping short. Shouldn't be a problem there for Mark Donlan. Bit of a coming together off the field, off the ball from a Dublin and Kildare player there, but referee didn't see it. And Kildare in possession. They are getting, they're getting ball, they're getting turnovers, they're getting possession because Dublin aren't clinical, but that's a poor pass there from Dublin or from a Kildare perspective. They get away with it though because it didn't look like Cormac Costello was alive to it. And now Kildare go down the other end with Masterson. Racing into the space. Kildare's midfield operating well. That's a bit of a heavy challenge going in there, but nothing doing. Kildare needs to take the opportunities. The space is opening up. It's a ball that does go over the bar, and that is a good point from a Kildare perspective, and it is Derek here one. Back down to a 3-point game. It's still in this, and I think for Kildare, the main thing for them going into the final, final 10 minutes or so, is just to be, if they can keep this down to a score game, potentially grab a late goal. Who knows? We've seen it happen before, and I think for Dublin, to just. Yeah, defensively, they've been a little bit, Kildare have definitely got a lot more opportunities. That's not the best kick out from Evan Comerford, but Dublin do have the ball with Brian Fenton. He plays it into Kieran Kilkenny now, racing at the Kildare defence. Just get the feeling that maybe Dublin should slow the game down and game management. There's a chance that goes well wide of the target really there from Noel Scully. He had a lot more time, and you would be expecting a player of his calibre really to be putting that over the bar, but he puts it a good bit wide, and you'd have to say so far that Dublin have been fairly wasteful in front of goal. Shooting hasn't been there. Far from convincing from a Dublin perspective. Ten minutes to go. Just looking at it there, 26 scoring opportunities for Dublin, 11 converted, below 15%, or below 50% in terms of accuracy, and that's been, a lot of rustiness really from a Dublin perspective. And to be fair, I was expecting rustiness in the opening game, but obviously, there's a lot to work on. There's a lot of improvements needed. I mean, Dublin are not going to be winning any All-Irelands with a performance like that, but it is the opening day of the league, and there's a long way to go, obviously, yeah. But here you go, Kildare now trying to make something happen. Did he need to go for that? I don't think he did. I think that was a bit of a wasteful opportunity there, a wasteful effort at goal from Neil Flynn. Realistically, had better options and didn't take them. Comerford doesn't really get enough power on the kick out, and Kildare now trying to go direct. They try to be quick. They do win the 45 though. They do win the 45. Tried to move that ball quickly. Just looking at it there, it was the ball into Tom Lahiff. Good bit of work there from Kildare. Kildare cornerbacks pressing up on the kick out, turning it over. It goes out for a 45. So, a good opportunity here for Kildare now to bring the game down to 2 points. Who takes their 45, though? That's the question. There's a Highland. There's a Mark Donlan. This will be an interesting one. It's probably maybe what Kildare might be lacking is a really good free taker. Let's see what happens here. And that's a great free, to be fair. That's absolutely brilliant. Eating my words. Fantastic stuff there from Neil Flynn. 2 points with 8 minutes to go. This is on. This is game on. And Kildare here, I'm telling you right now, have an opportunity, and Dublin need to be careful because, if Dublin lose this, I can accept that the performance is a little bit rusty and everything else, but I think a defeat would be, the result here is the most important thing. The result is massive. And Dublin in possession. They're trying to work it very, very quickly, and they're trying to be direct, but you just get the feeling that they maybe just need to hold possession. And I don't know if the referee, it looked like maybe over carrying from Colin Basquel, but I think the referee's actually given a free. There. Colin Basquel in possession. I don't think that's a free. I think Kildare are right to be aggrieved. And it is a let-off as well. And the referee's also given a yellow card. Wow, that's... unless he said something to the referee, Shay Ryan gets a yellow card, but unless he said something to him or he was... or something of that nature. Bit of an odd decision there from the referee, but Dean Rock, who's come on, puts it over the bar. Wearing the number 12 jersey as well, which is a bit confusing because he wasn't named in the starting 15. But he is on the field and he has scored. And Dublin do turn it over, and Colin Basquel direct. Dublin with maybe an opportunity here. Could there be an opportunity for a goal? That definitely is a foul, is it? No, it isn't. Now it's a turnover. Desi Farrell watching on a little bit anxiously because, Dublin do need to get out of Division 2. And if there was a slip up here, Dublin go away to Cork, away to Derry, So there could be a bit of a worry there. But 3 points in front, still a good bit to go. Haven't conceded too many goal chances, but here come Kildare. Can Kildare take this opportunity? They're going straight through the middle. There's definitely a pullback there. Referee doesn't see Atten. He's going to probably call the free eventually, is he? He is. I think the ball might have went over the bar anyway, so for sake of argument, would you not just play the advantage? But there will be a free here, so Kildare will have the opportunity to bring it back down to a 2-point game. For those who are watching the stream, let me know what your thoughts on the game going into the closing 5 minutes. Hasn't been overly perfect from a Dublin perspective, you would say. But at the same time, I mean, it is the opening day of the league, so I wasn't expecting it to be perfect, but definitely a lot to work on. And 5 minutes to go, probably 4 minutes to go, with a bit of injury. You'd imagine there's a bit of injury time as well. That's a big kick out. Dublin do win it. Fell in the build-up with advantage play. Dublin do have to free. They kick long, but that is a terrible pass. Very, very poor pass. And I think Dublin are going to get away with it there because there was a foul. And the referee will say there was no advantage played. Dublin just need to keep possession here and slow it down. We seem to be overly rushing things and trying attack type philosophy, but we just need to slow it down a bit here because we do have the lead. Life's not so cozy in Division 2, says GA Statsman. Yeah, it hasn't been perfect, but to be fair, I didn't expect Dublin to there's bound to be a bit of rustiness there. There's bound to be Con O'Callaghan coming back into the side, and a lot of lads haven't played since the Dublin Club Championship. Bound to be a bit of rustiness. The most important thing here is just to get the result and get the win, and Costello puts that wide. That's a bit poor, to be honest with you. And a lot to work on because we won't beat Derry playing like that. And if Cork are in the form that we think they're in, they could turn Dublin over as well. So it hasn't been perfect. You'd wonder why Dean Rock wasn't on that free, considering he's on the pitch. Kira says your top 3 counties that might win the All-Ireland. Kerry, Dublin, Armagh probably was my top 3. Kerry, Dublin, Galway. Obviously this performance by Dublin, they're not going to win an All-Ireland playing like this. But obviously still a long way to go. They do win the kick out though, which was important, but they then give the ball away. And Kildare need to do better in possession. They need to work something here. Heavy hit goes in there. What I would say from a Dublin perspective is they're giving out heavy challenges. They're playing with a high intensity, which is good to see. Fitness-wise, and the want is there, which was often the problem last year. It's just been that bit of quality in the final third. So it hasn't been overly last year when Dublin played against Armagh, Kerry, Mayo, Kildare. That was opening 4 games. Lee Gannon there with 2 slaps to the face, actually. Could arguably say he could have possibly got a red card there, but maybe a yellow card, fair decision. But the want is definitely there. The want is there, which is good. But as I was saying, the performance and the accuracy in front of goal hasn't been there. But this is a big opportunity now for Kildare on the attack. They need to get a score. They're probably not going to get a goal, realistically, with the fact that Dublin haven't, it's been 1 goal chance to remember for Kildare in the whole game. But they're being calm in possession. They need to They need to work something. It'd be interesting to see how much added time. I mean, do remember there's an effort. He rushed that, and that was a big chance for Derek Kirwan, and he puts it a good bit wide of the target. And you'd wonder now, like Kildare probably need a goal now, to be honest. How much injury time? Probably 5 minutes, I'd say 4 or 5 minutes, given that Paddy Small was on the deck for a good bit. 5 minutes. So there's time there for Kildare. There is time. They need to make sure that Dublin don't score here. A good bit of space here now. That should be a point. Oh, dearie me. Mother of God. The less said, the better. I'm pretty sure I would have scored that. Even on my weaker foot. Look, it's there for Kildare. Like they have a chance here. They have a chance. They haven't won at Croke Park against Dublin since 2000. You have a chance here. There's 100% a chance here. Dublin have been very, very poor in front of goal. You know, there's 5 minutes, so if they get a score and then maybe win a kick out, like they could escape with a draw, and if they escape with a draw, that would be a very good result. Yellow card for Noel Scully. Dublin trying to slow the game down as much as possible. Beast says, I don't know about this Dublin team, to be honest. Yeah, like this. I mean, there's a lot to work on, isn't there? There's a lot to work on. I mean, I was expecting rustiness. I was expecting it not to be brilliant because, you know, first game of the league, it's bound to be slow. It probably has been worse than expected, to be honest with you. Kildare had the ball and they had a free and they lost the ball, but now they have it back with Jack Robinson. I mean, the good thing from a Dublin perspective is Kildare have lacked that edge in the final third. You know, if we're playing any Division 1 team in this game, I think they beat us. You know. And I think a lot of Division 2 teams would fancy themselves if Dublin play like that. You know, I think Cork, Clare. There's a bending effort. It's dropping in. Evan Comerford gets it. Or David O'Hanlon has it. I keep thinking it's Evan Comerford in goal. It's not Evan Comerford. It is David O'Hanlon, and that was a chance. Can they get a turnover, Kildare? But Dublin are in possession. Dublin just need to keep the ball. Do what Dublin do. Remember 2019 against Kerry, we just kept the ball for the final minute or two. Remember Mayo 2017. Just keep the ball. But here goes Tom Lahiff. Dublin, or John Small, I should say. Dublin are adamant here. Adamant to get the score, and does seem like they're playing a bit of keep ball here. And realistically now, if Kildare probably will have one last crack in possession, and they'll need a goal. And here goes Dublin on the attack. Is that over the bar? It's wide again. Wow. Not great. Not been great from Dublin, but look, the result is the most important thing. And it's looking like Dublin will escape with a victory, even though do we deserve it? Probably not. I don't think Kildare have been all right, but we've lacked a bit of edge going forward. But definitely a lot to work on. I mean, Dublin, you know, you're not going to win any All-Irelands with a performance like that. Kildare realise they need a goal and they go direct into Derek Kirwan. Is he going to go for the point? Oh, he goes around his man, plays it in. Kildare trying to get in. Neil Flynn looked like he overcarried it. It's bouncing all over the place here, and it's a bit like a bleeding ping ball. 45. If you ask Kildare before the game, you'll have a 45 to send the long ball in to potentially win the game. I think they would have took it. And that's what's going to happen here. And I didn't really expect to be on the edge of my seat, but it might just happen. It might just happen, you know. Here we go. Here we go. The last kick of the game. And it's going to be sent in by Neil Flynn. He's shaping up as if he's going to go for the point. He is going to go for the point, and he takes the point. But is there enough time? I don't know if there is. I don't know if there's enough time. Maybe he said to the ref, one last kick out. Is the ref going to blow his whistle? Blow your whistle, ref. Dublin win the kick out with Dean Rock. Plays it in here. Just keep the ball here now. Keep the ball. Don't do anything silly. Oh, Jesus. This fella doesn't look too good, does he? Keep the ball. Oh, that's silly there from a Kildare perspective. I don't know why he's doing that. Didn't need to do that, and that's it now. That's the game. It was a heavy challenge on Lee Gannon there, and there's no need for Kildare to do that realistically. But yeah, it's looking like Dublin are going to come through anyway and win the game. Yellow card there from Mick O'Grady. It was a poor challenge. I don't know how to feel about it, really. It doesn't really feel like a win. Like, it just kind of feels like, you know, I don't know. Has the referee blown his whistle? He's blown his whistle. Dublin get the victory. Huge win. Not really. Not great. Not a great performance. Not a brilliant performance. By far from brilliant from Dublin. Actually quite poor. Very poor, it must be said. Nowhere near their best. And I think a better team there beats Dublin. I think a better team beats Dublin. Any Division 1 team there would have beaten Dublin tonight. You know, I think Kildare, they can play better. And a better Kildare side would have won that game. Cork, Clare, Derry would have beaten Dublin. So a lot to work on. A lot to work on from a Dublin perspective. You know, a lot to work on. Far from convincing from a Dublin perspective. The most important thing is we got the win and we got the victory. And that's the main thing. But nowhere near brilliant. And, you know, a lot to work on from a Dublin perspective. You know, we're not going to be winning any All-Irelands or anything of that nature. But as Tom says, a win is a win. And the most important thing was the result. And, you know, winning breeds confidence. And look, there's probably not a lot of positives to take from it other than the result. But we got to win. And that's the main thing. A win, they all count. They all count. Yeah, look, cheers anyone who tuned in. That was the live watch along. I'll be doing the live match reaction in about 5 or 10 minutes. So make sure you go over and tune into that. I'll be sharing the StreamYard link as well. So if any people want to jump on and have their say, jump on the stream and have their say on the game, feel free to do so. So keep an eye on that. That'll be popping up on the channel in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So yeah, cheers anyone who tuned in. Up the Dubs, champions of Division 2. We're coming for you, but far from convincing, obviously. A long way to go. A long way to go. And the result was the most important thing, and we did get that. So I'll speak to you all in the match reaction in about 10 minutes.